We've all been in quarantine lockdown for forever. I had a different kind of lockdown this week. Last night, we had a lot of inclement weather come through, severe thunderstorms, touchdown, tornadoes touching down. And so we're all huddling in our garage or wherever we can to avoid the potential touchdown of a tornado. Luckily for me, nothing happened. But last Sunday, we had a hailstorm, and I've seen hail before, but this was the most intense, longest lasting hailstorm I've ever experienced. I found like the largest was a $half size hailstone.
Wow.
There were reports of baseball sized hailstones. I've got a video that I recorded. You can hear them bonking off my roof everywhere. So it was pretty intense, and as I said, nothing like I experienced. But that was on Sunday. The following Monday, the next day, I got in the mail 2 pieces of snail mail, direct mail. One from a roofer offering free video inspections for roofs, and another from Anderson Windows offering a discount on window replacement. I've actually got them here. There's the roofer and Anderson Windows, and it was just like absolutely weather triggered campaigns. They automated it clearly. An example of precision marketing, timely, relevant. Of course, now that Trump's sabotaging the Postal Service.
How it got there quickly. That's astounding.
Yeah, well,
they had to have planned that.
Yeah. But pretty amazing campaign. I was impressed, even though I didn't need their services.
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty hairy. So I've had one crazy kind of week this week, and mainly what I have learned is what a recommended video in YouTube recommendations will do for you. I'm working with a client who makes a product for removing ticks from people and pets, and all of a sudden, a 5-year-old video on the YouTube channel went wildly viral. And it took a bit of detective work in analytics to figure out why it was getting 50,000 views an hour. In 5 days, it got, and this is just from this morning, it's still going, it got 8.5 million views, 26 million impressions, 3.5 million unique viewers, and more than 22,500 new subscribers. So it turns out, I have a pro tip at the end about how you can increase the likelihood of getting into YouTube's recommended videos. But what it turned out to be, and I learned all of this through analytics, is that it was in YouTube's recommended videos, but then somebody who saw the video put it on WhatsApp in India, and it then went wild in that part of the world. So the video got 169,500 likes, 3,300 comments, and we're working to answer them because that's part of how you get recommended. You have to respond. So happily, the great news is it also got a lot of orders. It's been quite a week.
Very good. That's amazing. So was it YouTube? Was it a recommended videos newsletter? Was it on their homepage? It
was both recommended. It was recommended in people's streams, and it was in their newsletter. And I think, since it was the video was about how to remove a tick from a dog. And this summer, there's a tremendous amount of media coverage about how tick-borne diseases mimic COVID-19 symptoms. And so some of the COVID-19 diagnosis is being missed, and some of the Lyme and other disease diagnosis, it's difficult for them to tell the difference. So the only way you don't get a tick-borne disease is if you don't get bitten by a tick. So there's so much information about that. This is totally tied to news and to what people are searching for, because YouTube is owned by Google. And so that's what happened. And also, well, I have like 10 things at the pro tip part about what you can do, but essentially one of the most important things about it is that this channel is very focused. It's about ticks. It's not about animals and other things. It's about ticks and how to remove them and spot them. And, so that's what this engine is looking for. apparently.
But so another aspect of it is it seems like it got a lot of traction when it was shared on WhatsApp by whomever, probably somebody with a really large audience, and then there were a spike in views and interactions on the video based on that share, and then YouTube figures that out, oh, that's something people are really interested in, and promotes it elsewhere.
Exactly, so, and that's still happening. Because we're still getting this enormous amount of, I mean, we were laughing about it, like, oh, we're up to 4 million. What now? 4.5 million. And, you know, the comments, what we have to do right now is we have to make a whole lot more videos because we have all this traction. So anyway, I'll explain a lot about that later, but what fun it's been.
That's cool. That's cool. Twitter has a new feature. Recode's Sharon Gaffrey reports on it. They're rolling out a new feature that they've been testing since May that allows you to, I was unfamiliar with the term reply guys. I don't know if it's a thing, but it sounds like it from the writing of this article. But that's when usually women on Twitter get a lot of replies from unwanted people, basically guys, harassing or hitting on them or whatever. But this is an attempt to make it more comfortable for people to have conversations on Twitter. And it's limiting the degree to which people can apply. So now you can apply limits to just allow the people you follow to reply to something that you tweet, or the people you mention in the tweet are the only ones who can apply. So people who can't reply. So if BL shut me out of one of her tweets and I wasn't allowed to reply, I could still view, share, like, and engage with the tweet. I just couldn't reply. So the people who you're not entirely kicked out, so you don't feel entirely shunned, which is nice. But it's useful for having a focused discussion on Twitter, which is really difficult when there's a lot of noise. And back in the day when Twitter was a new thing, there was a thing called Twitter Views, where people would conduct interviews on Twitter one-to-one, and they kind of fell by the wayside because there was so much noise involved in that. But this seems like this feature would help, might be able to bring Twitter views back, and having political discussions are probably much more sane using this feature than they would be otherwise. I did a little screen share of how it works. Pretty simple, that I'll share in the show notes.
What's interesting about this for me is that I've had this since May, and I still don't have voice tweets, which you've had since what, May? And what this helps me with, principally, besides those Twitter guys who I just ignore, but what this helps me with is any political conversation I want to have. It gets rid of some of the maggots.
Yeah. You got another one?
I do not.
All right. This is, I don't know if this is best or worst. It's kind of just news. So Scribd has the document sharing platform. It's acquired SlideShare. So SlideShare is owned by LinkedIn. They're selling SlideShare to Scribd. This is from Search Engine Journal's Matt Southern. And Scribd will take over operation of SlideShare on September 24th. The acquisition includes 100 million SlideShare users. The accounts and content of those SlideShare users are all safe. Nothing's going to get removed. Scribd is a subscription service, so it has content, and people subscribe at $9.99 a month for unlimited access to the content in Scribd. But SlideShare content will remain free. So SlideShare will remain a free service. The content that you've uploaded I use SlideShare. The content you've uploaded on SlideShare will only be viewed on SlideShare. It can't be accessed through Scribd. And a Scribd subscription is not necessary to continue to use SlideShare. In SlideShare accounts, so my SlideShare account can't be used as a Scribd account. Back in episode 306, I included a pro tip about uploading presentations to LinkedIn. And if you remember at the time, I said, don't use SlideShare presentations because they give you a blurry thumbnail image when you upload them to LinkedIn. Well, maybe this explains that. They knew that they were going to be getting rid of
and they don't want to
SlideShare. So
that's so funny. So I'm on to bad news, unless you have more good news.
No, let's go to the bad news.
Well, this is like a social media bizarre instance. Were you spending your time in quarantine wondering what happened to Baby Nut?
I gotta admit, I was not. No,
me either. So 2020 is strange. This is from an Ad Age story by Jessica Wohl, and Baby Nut is now 21. He's old enough to drink, and apparently he's about to get a beer. But he was introduced, if you recall, through a rebirth at Mr. Peanut's funeral during the 2020 Super Bowl commercial, that where Mr. Peanut jumped from a tree branch after a Nutmobile crash to spare the passengers, who were Wesley Snipes and Matt Walsh. It was so bizarre. And Kraft Heinz opted to rethink its media strategy for the campaign after Kobe Bryant and 8 others died in a helicopter crash days after the debut of their road trip thing in the Nutmobile crash. So on Twitter, all of a sudden, Mr. Peanut became Baby Nut. And now he's Peanut Jr., formerly known as Baby Nut. It's kind of like Prince, but he has freckles now for some reason. And it seems like he's going to be partying with adult beverages and maybe get his own beer, because on Twitter it says give him a beer because he's old enough to drink. And now there was a sweepstake to be one of 3 people to win $2,100 delivered to your home by the Nutmobile, which apparently was reincarnated after the crash. Fans who have or will have a birthday in quarantine were asked to share their dream birthday gift in 10 words or less on Twitter with the hashtags #MakeMyBirthdayNuts or sweepstakes. So Baby Nut appeared out of nowhere when he popped out of the burial site. I mean, this was also weird. And the Super Bowl spot was by VaynerMedia, and this year's version, apparently, according to Jessica Wohl, wasn't the first rendition of infant Mr. Peanut. There was a 2004 Planters Christmas spot from that showed a Baby Nut-like character in a black and white flashback showing a very young Mr. Peanut getting his monocle, cane, and top hat as gifts. And in that spot, the older Mr. Peanut watches a film of the prior moment while sitting on a couch between Santa and Rudolph. Now, apparently, the gestation time for an adult peanut is about 4 months, like from the, sprout to the peanuts on the plant. So I guess you could look at it that this is how long it took for it to grow up. I don't know. It's just so stupid.
That's too complicated for me to follow.
No, it's ridiculous.
I just want to eat peanuts.
Right,
I just want to eat peanuts.
Right. I don't care. I don't care what his name is. I don't care how old he is. I don't care what he's driving. I mean, who cares?
I did like the Super Bowl commercial, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, but I mean, the timing was terrible.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't their fault.
No.
So mine is, this is a Digiday article by Max Willens and Lucinda Southern of Apple's, Apple has systems, so their iOS on mobile and Mac OS, Big Sur. Force Apple News Plus, those are the subscribers, paid subscribers to Apple News app. They force Apple News Plus subscribers to use the service more. They're trying to get people to use the service more, and they're doing this by redirecting traffic. So when Apple News Plus subscribers are browsing the web using the Safari browser, they will be redirected to the Apple News Plus app when they click on a news article that belongs to one of the publishers that are participating in the Apple News Plus program. Scroll CEO Tony Hale has posted a screenshot of how that works. So it's basically searching, clicks on an article from The Atlantic, and rather than going to The Atlantic's website for the article, the user gets redirected into the Apple News app. So There's sources in the article that say that Apple didn't inform them. Their publishers that are participating in Apple News Plus said Apple didn't inform them that these changes were coming. One called it totally unethical, if not actually illegal. A second one said it's a bit shady. And then there's this quote, this from another one, this they're being kind of hypocritical. They're saying everybody can't use third-party cookies and we can't track our audience. Meanwhile, they control the hardware and the software pipeline. And Apple is doing exactly the same thing that they're blocking other people from doing in Safari by doing cross-site tracking. So be better.
That's bad. I just actually paid for a Feedly Pro subscription because I think it's the best news source, frankly, because you create it yourself and all of that. But this is, TikTok is in the news, and this is from a TechCrunch story by Natasha Lomas. And for 15 months until November 2019, TikTok figured out how to skirt Google privacy controls. They had an extra layer of encryption that was connecting these unique identifiers from Android mobile devices, and that allowed the app to track users online and they couldn't opt out. So what it was a MAC address, which is a unique fixed identifier assigned to an internet-connected device, and it can be repurposed for tracking the user, for profiling and ad targeting, even if the user cleared their advertising ID, which is very similar to what you just told us. And so, but the problem here is the possibility exists that malware could be placed on the user's computer by a foreign government to collect data and or files. So a Wall Street Journal report says that the FTC said MAC addresses are considered personally identified information under the Children's Online Privacy Protection. So that implies that the app could face a regulatory probe on that front and add to its whole pile of US problems. So TikTok appears to have exploited a known bug on Android to gather these MAC addresses, and Google has still failed to plug that, according to the Wall Street Journal. And a spokesman for TikTok didn't deny the substance of the report, nor explain the purpose of this opt-outless tracking. Instead, she sent a statement attributed to a spokesperson in which the company reiterates that it has become a go-to claim that it has never given, that is its go-to claim that it's never given U.S. user data to the Chinese government. This election is going to be a trip.
Well, I mean, this is, I'm sure, complicating the discussions with Microsoft. This is Facebook Creator Studio. Have you been using that at all?
I have not been using Facebook.
So I haven't been using Facebook intensively until recently. So I started using Facebook Creator Studio, and it is very helpful. There is a interview that Michael Stelzner at Social Media Examiner did with Mari Smith, who's, if you know,
Miss Facebook.
She's Miss Facebook. Yeah. She's been like the original Facebook guru. So it was fascinating. It's all about Creator Studio, and it is very helpful. It's a content management tool. It's basically Facebook's native content management tool. So instead of going through Hootsuite to schedule your Facebook posts and Instagram posts, you can use Creator Studio. You can use it to manage content, track performance, engage with your audiences on Facebook and Instagram. It is Facebook's attempt to encourage more video sharing on the platform. So they've got better analytics than you'll find in third-party tools. You can use it for uploading, scheduling, publishing, monitoring, tracking. You can assign admin roles, so you can add users if you're collaborating with people, everywhere from admin to editor, moderator, advertiser, and analyst, just like you would in the advertising side of things. And schedule Instagram posts from the desktop, which if you've ever written a lengthy copy for Instagram on mobile, it's a pain in the ass. So this is, oops, did I say that? This is a lot easier to do it on the desktop. It's got a they're testing a story scheduler for Facebook stories. Will be included in the future. Has a unified inbox through which you can get messages for Facebook pages, Messenger, Instagram Direct, and you can respond to all those within there. You can create automated responses. It has contact tracking. You can also track if you're doing like appointments that have been booked, orders placed, if you're doing some e-commerce payments received and orders shipped. So they're turning it into an e-commerce hub as well. So a lot of functionality in there. I've been very impressed with it so far. It's, Facebook is love-hate relationship with us marketers.
Absolutely. No, it absolutely is. And there's definitely still some stuff that's good in there, but it's such a cesspool. So this is a shiny object, and it's kind of funny. It's a smart camera. The headline was "Smart Camera for Nose Pickers" in Product Hunt. It's an AI-powered app that lets you turn your iPhone into a smart webcam. So it's called NeuralCam, and it's free to download, and it has a premium subscription that has even better features. It works with Zooms, Google Meet, and Microsoft Teams. Sadly, it doesn't support FaceTime or Safari, but it has this proprietary AI technology that has features that do things like it detects certain gestures. So if somebody's picking their nose, it blurs their face. If you scratch your face or whatever, it'll blur your face. It's kind of fun.
Safari is a craptastic browser, by the way. It doesn't support video, live streaming video, which is
no, it doesn't. But I use it.
Do that?
I use it all day long because it also doesn't eat up my memory.
This is YouTube Analytics. We're both on YouTube Analytics this week. This is a quick way to measure your channel growth. So you just go to the analytics, go into the advanced mode, and choose the last 28 days. You can actually choose any time frame you want, but for illustrative purposes, we'll choose the last 28 days. Then you go to compare to and choose period over period. And that way you get a dual screen basically of what your traffic is like for the last 28 months compared to the previous 28 months. And you can see at a glance, whether your channel is growing. If you've got more views, if you've got more watch times, if you've got more subscribers and everything, and just a good way of measuring, a quick and easy way of measuring whether your channel is growing.
So I want to just share some tips about getting into YouTube recommendations. It's somewhat of a mystery what their algorithm is because they don't let you see it, but there are ways to increase your chances. I said before, focusing your channel on a single topic. I mean, you can have more than one channel, so if you have one topic per channel, that's helpful. And we do this every week with our videos. You have to have complete descriptions, and YouTube allows you up to 5,000 characters, which nobody uses except us. And those descriptions can be search optimized, and you also can add timestamps to your videos, which will take a user directly to a spot in the video that they're interested in learning more about. But what's really helpful is putting your videos into playlists and adding thumbnails to each video that are visually appealing. Very importantly, when you get comments, you have to answer them. And you have to get rid of the spam and the nasties. And then you really need to do a very deep dive into YouTube Analytics to track where your traffic is coming from. And you can get pretty specific. You can find out where it was embedded. You can find out what countries it came from. You can find out the ages and the genders. And it's amazing what you can get if you dig on down in there. You have to SEO your videos. That's really important. And then once you have 4,000 viewing hours in 1 year, which sounds like more than it is, and you have more than 1,000 members, then you can apply to the YouTube Partner Program. And they let you know, you apply and they let you know when you're ready to join it. And then you can have ads in your channel, and you can make, if you have the kind of traffic we experienced in this past week, you make a lot of money. The other thing that you get when you reach 1,000 subscribers is the community tab, which allows you to interact directly with the subscribers of your channel. And you'll see that on some of the bigger channels, and that's really worth working towards. So it's a pretty complicated bunch of stuff, but it's worth studying and learning and spending the time because the payoff is pretty big.
Yeah, I love YouTube analytics. I mean, Google does analytics really well, so their YouTube analytics are very good as well as Google Analytics.
You
So
just go down and down and down and down, and then
yeah,
there's
yeah,
another layer. It's
yeah,
really kind of fun.
yeah. Um,
I'll be a geek yet.
Good for you, BL. I'm encouraging that. Let's wrap this up. Weekly numbers. This is the most effective recommendation engine tactics according to Adobe. So I'm going to put this on my big screen so I can read it properly. So what kind of recommendations? This is consumers are responding to this. It's based on a survey of 1,000 adults in the U.S. and in the United Kingdom, 800 in the U.S. and 200 in the U.K. What kind of recommendations are most "quote unquote" impactful for you? Which
Hate that word.
I take to mean effective. So recommendations that are based on my favorite. So this is personalization type of stuff, right? You know what I like, and so recommend more of what I like. Recommended for you. So you've seen that in Amazon. I'm sorry, based on your favorite, 19% said they rank that first. Recommended for you, 16% ranked that first. And this is a ranking first, second, and third. People also bought, so that type of recommendation, 18% rank that first. Most popular, 14% rank that first. Because you watched this, you should watch that. 13% rank that first. People like you like this stuff, so you should also like it. 8% rank that. Trending now, 6%, and other people like this, 5%. So interesting stuff. We'll put the whole chart in the show notes so you can take a look at all of the data. But personalization recommendation work if it's done right.
Well, yeah, I get emails probably 5 times a day from Uniqlo because I'm a Uniqlo shopper, but they're annoying. That thing you looked at is still there, or that thing you looked at last month is back, or there's something you'll like. And the only reason that I don't just block them is because I like the store. And you have no option to get less emails, but but I do open them because there might be something good in there. I'm wearing one right now.
See, that's relevance, though. I mean, you need the option to not be as annoyed, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I banned many stores for that, but this is my favorite store, so I don't ban them.